So after my morning Tai Chi class, I'm up with Ken. We're driving up a dirt road. Said about 30 minutes. I'm not exactly sure where our destination point is. If you keep going up, you can get, for an hour, you can kind of keep driving up. But he says he's got a good spot. So yeah, I'm just excited. It's 10:30. It's kind of late. It's going to be hot day out there. But it's, you know, I haven't collected for a while. So this is going to be fun. And yeah, I'm just, you know, I love, what a day for me. Start my day off with Tai Chi, drive up into the woods, collect some trees, hang out with Ken. You know, it's just, it's, can't tell you, I was kind of, like last night I was getting excited about it, thinking about it, and not a lot does that in the same way that this kind of adventure does for me. So yeah, I'm all smiles today, and yeah, hopefully we get some good trees. I'm hoping to do some good filming for you too, a little more than usual.
Might go.
What are you looking at? Oh yeah.
She got a pretty substantial base just under the sand.
Yeah, the problem with these sand ones is that the roots can go so far in. Oh yeah, it looks like it's good. It looks like it's pulling a big chunk too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you hope for.
Yeah, it might be like a little circle stones or something there.
Yeah, nice bark on it anyways.
We
get up to, I want to say 1,500 meters, and then if we kept going for another half-hour drive, we'd be up at 2,000 meters. I'm not sure. Ken said he's got a spot up here that he knows that's pretty quick to go to, and thought, wow, there'll be some great trees there, and the elevation's great for the length of the drive. I'm kind of eating Ken's dust as we drive up this road, so I'm hanging back a bit. Like I said, it's first week of September, you know, maybe September 7th or something, so we're already kind of pushed past that summer into the fall. Anton, a famous collector on Vancouver Island, yeah, a really well respected and really good collector, posted on my site, and he's got a great blog. I definitely recommend checking it out. But he's got this great section on collecting, especially single flush conifers. Now, you know, because he's on the West Coast and similar species, you know, and he's got all the experience, because there's a lot of sort of, I don't know if they call them myths. It's just not easy to find good information on why you would say not need the taproot, or when you would collect, or do you cut off branches, or for certain species, what time do you collect? It's just not, you know, for the most chance of success. So there's not a lot of information out there. So it's really one of those things where experience says a lot to me. So anyways, he was posting about how for single flush conifers, the best time to collect is in late summer, early fall. Even summer during the dormancy period. And then, you know, during the fall to collect, you know, after they've pushed that flush of growth and that growth hardened off, right? Which makes a lot of sense to me, because there's how much energy is getting consumed from the roots, from the tree, to grow new growth and harden it off. You know, if you feel a new piece of new growth, you can feel the thinness of the needle. It's not like they just shoot out and then they just slowly change colors. It's like more cellular tissue is being put on there as they sort of thicken out, is what it seems to me. And so, you know, to collect a tree, definitely if it's already kind of shot out growth, I found that was the least success I've had. Is it's already kind of shot out the growth, and then I get it, and you know, that new growth kind of starts to wilt, and it makes sense. The roots have just taken this trauma. It's trying to grow. It's taking tons of energy, and you just kind of traumatize it. And can the water pump up through, and nutrients be delivered? And it's just in this time where the growth is like just coming out. It's like, you know, it'd be like new growth putting it right in the sun or something. It feels like that, right? It just kind of starts to wilt and fall off. So pre-push seems to be a decent time. But even more for me for success, but even last year I found that some of the trees, and I would say third week of August, I collected some firs that survived, that I was just like, well, I'm gonna go collecting, I'm in the woods anyways. And I thought, well, you know, this is not what they say. They say this shouldn't work. And they did really well. So were some of those earlier ones that I collected, especially the bigger, older trees. With a younger tree, you can kind of just collect it, and it will do pretty darn good as long as you get enough roots, because it's just got that youthful vigor. But an older tree is a little more sensitive, and of course the roots are bigger, and it's harder to, get them all. So what I found with the bigger ones, the ones that I collected in the spring just didn't make it. A couple died, and the one that I collected like midsummer did really well. So it resonates true for me, this idea about collecting in the fall. Now, of course, on the coast, on Vancouver Island, your fall is a lot longer. Mine's gonna be a little shorter. So when I think about this kind of theory, and I'm kind of going with a theory, which is that after they push and harden off, they're gathering energy from the sun and then putting energy into the vascular tissue and the roots. And so it might even be a week ago, 2 weeks ago, third week of August, very first of September, that might have been best. And that would give me that extra sort of recovery time and time to then put on growth. But we'll see. It's all kind of an experiment. I do feel confident about the trees having a long enough time to survive and put on some growth. So and build those buds up, right? So but yeah, it's a super exciting collecting day. Ken thinks he saw something on the side of the road, so we're just stopping. Well, that's a good eye.
Yeah, well, I saw the bank give it out down there, and there were whole root balls just laying in the sun. I think it'll go. We'll get that on the way down.
Yeah, look at that little piece of deadwood there, and this little cedar.
Yeah, it looks like it was artificially cut with something at some point. There's a bunch of falling cuts on all these, so probably just someone clearing the perimeter of one of these trees before they put it down and made a little slash cut. Sweet.
Wow. Yeah, it looks pretty loose in there, right?
Yeah. So maybe one kind of fatter root that comes out to about there, but it seems like there's feeders right there, so sweet.
Yeah, nice. So I was pondering, thinking, why is it that I love collecting so much? What is it about collecting? Now, of course, it's like a treasure hunt, or it's like you get to find something amazing, and there's sort of this excitement of like, what do they call that? Like the slot machines where the reward isn't consistent, so there's this intermittent reward system, right? And that is like the best dopamine releaser for you. It's like, I could find something, I did find something, and no predictable reward based on it. So there's that piece that, of course, that plays into collecting. But I was thinking there's something deeper to it. I've been wondering this about bonsai in general, but particularly with collecting, is here we are at creek. Just let me show you this creek. That is, I think, unique, but maybe all to bonsai. And it's why is there this sort of fascination that grips you? I think a lot of people have that with different arts and stuff. But I think there's something unique about working with nature. Like I was saying before, there's sort of intermittent reward system of collecting, and then working with something living. Of course, it's pushing out. It's that dynamic change process, so it's not totally under your control. And caring for something's deeply sort of human. But I also think with collecting, there's this strange sort of evolutionary, reward system around being in nature and looking for specific things. So how many thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years have we been like searching for food, if not millions of years, for mammals, right? So in the woods, identifying patterns, so identifying trees or plants, and looking for, you know, berries, or looking for things in the woods that signified food or some source of you know, like building a bow and arrow or a weapon, so, you know, or even just a landmark location. And sort of wandering through the woods just aimlessly for a nature walk's awesome, but having this sort of focused, I'm looking for something, and then finding it, of course. I think it has this well, I don't even know, like I said, evolutionary reward system built into it, and maybe it's not so much as like in the forest looking, like in a certain forest looking for a certain tree, but this idea of searching in amongst a bunch of you know, in a landscape, let's say, for certain objects, right? You can see the shape of the trees getting a lot skinnier, right? The snow is just breaking off those branches, and you get a little bit more meadows as we get higher and higher. You know, you can see the changes. You get a little more grasses at these higher elevations, and like I said, the trees are a lot thinner and denser, right? It's that ramification that's happening. So we're hoping to make it up there. This is just a beautiful line. We're gonna actually hike up and around, and then come down here. We've been finding some great trees just in this lower boulder field kind of environment, which is often some of the best. Like up in there, that'll be tough, obviously. I mean, in there, just the roots will often go through the rocks and down, like I was saying before on the drive up. But down here where there's more, you know, it's like a post, longer time, there's more dirt. It just creates these pockets though, where all the roots get together. But you can see, I mean, just look at something like this. I mean, it's just such a nice movement. Nothing special, but just everything special. It's that kind of thing again in the Alpine.
Question is, is this a root ball or a moss ball?
Yeah.
That's just hard because it's so dry.
Yeah, well, sometimes you find too that the first few roots, if they shoot really far, you know,
yeah,
you move the tree and you're like, wow, all this base is moving, and it's just these two long things because there's nothing holding it there, and then they're held far.
Yeah, it's like swiveling.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that was
yeah,
felt like they were all right there. It was just because there was these few tappers, but that looks pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a beefy tree.
It'd be probably reduced all the way down to this.
Yeah,
but it's got, I don't know if this is bark or just damage, but looks old.
Yeah,
I'm skeptical this will come out, but look at that interesting peak of deadwood there, and you've got all these little subordinate trunks coming off this main one that goes all the way out there. But even off of that, you might be able to build almost like a raft style, right?
Almost hear the roots coming out.
Yeah, like it. You might be right. It might be swiveling on two big roots going there and there, but there's nothing over here. Yeah. It's probably up.
So I'm using tree planter bags now. It goes around your waist and shoulders, and then you got 4 bags. It's just so much easier. We'll see about getting the trees in there and stuff, but came across this. These are these subalpine firs. This is like a twin trunk, although I'm not sure if it's one tree. It does look like it's fused together at the base there, but it's just got this nice movement. And again, it's pretty settled. Now this one contrasts that one quite a bit, and it does look like you get a lot of reverse taper right here. But if you look on this side, Some of the reverse taper goes away, especially this angle, which I'd probably not want to have them on the horizontal plane anyways. But the movement gets to be more similar. You don't want one with huge movement and one a little more straighter. But again, look at these branches that just go straight down. And this one actually moves quite well, so I think I really like this one. Oh, they came out nice. So this is kind of what you want to see for a root ball. It's just dense with roots. There's a few bigger ones shooting out. The real problem is when you get a huge one shooting out. It's sort of like a taproot. But you can see it hit rock in here and then shot along, and there's just a plethora of fine roots. And sometimes you have to worry, like some of this is maybe grass, but a lot of this you can kind of tell, like these roots here are from the tree. Now these ones are, of course, too. But yeah, that's just, it's going to be a heavy haul down. But that's just beautiful. I forget how quiet it is up here. How loud the roads are. And the highways. A few birds. Not very many even in the alpine here. There's just a lot less. Not very many bugs this time of year. And so few living creatures. Strange, you hear the one or two birds. It's not just a plethora, so it's just a certain kind of quietness of being out here. It's nice to kind of know what you're looking for, so you can kind of not just be overwhelmed with the trees, all of them. You know, do you want a literati? Do you want something with a thick base, a lot of movement, and then not be refined to that? But it helps sort of let the eye know what to look for. Just higher and higher and higher. So we're tracking up the side of this rock field, and then I think somewhere up through there we'll head over. There should be, I mean, these are just beautiful trees everywhere, but there should be some ones that have really been gnarled by the wind, stunted by the sort of lack of, well, just the extreme weather and lack of sort of soil. But the soil on here is really great. Just nice and dry, and it collects really well. You know, sometimes you find something just little like this, and it's just, you know, it's just got a certain kind of movement. A small, a little bit bigger, small, big swoop, you know, and it's just something about it that you just like. Can't always put your finger on it. So I kind of like trees like this. Now this one's really small, so the views are spectacular. And you look at something like that ridge, you know, that's not that far. There, and at the top of this one too. We'll see if we get all the way up there. And it's hard to probably gauge the steepness, but if you fell on this, I mean, this is not where you want to fall. And look, there's Ken. He was down there collecting one, and sort of charged up ahead. But yeah, look at that mountain peak off in the distance. You're in Ken Hoot down there with Joy. He obviously found something he's liking. I feel like I'm so close to the top of this ridge. You can see it's kind of peeking over, so I'm just gonna leave my bag here, bring my shovel and charge up in case I see a tree. But this whole slope down here is where I think we're gonna find the nice trees. So yeah. So I got up to the top. I mean, this is the top of the ridge, but you can see it follows down and along and up and over. But it is something else. You can feel the wind. So yeah, this is the other side of the whole mountain range that we were up on. That's down there is where we came from. Just below that cut field down there. But insane mountains way off in the distance there, and all up in there. Those are some high peaks. And then you follow the line. I mean, this is quite high, and then you go up here, and then even in the distance, there's just those little peaks you probably can't see, well, especially with my hands in there, but way off in the distance. Those are quite a bit higher. So yeah, just epic. Yeah, charged up the hill. Well, you don't charge when you're in the Alpine and it's getting later in the day in the hike. Charging's a little on the dangerous side, but made it up to the hike. This is, you know, this is where it gets a little more dangerous and steeper, and we're at the end of the day and we're lower on water and food, and so I just got to be that much more thoughtful and careful. But yeah, it's just gorgeous up here. Oh. That's where we were climbing up instead of that first field that we got into. But end of the day, I think we got up here at 11:30. It's now 3:30, so 4 hours later. A lot of hiking and digging. Starting to feel it. Legs are tired and sort of wore it down. The water I brought was sort of this unfiltered water, so I haven't been drinking it, saving it for the trees. And I got water down in the truck, but it's another 20 minutes down. But yeah, man, it feels fulfilling. You know, such good exercise, and being outside like this, just, yeah, it's epic. Some of those epic views. Yeah. Man, am I tired. It's a long day. I'm thirsty too. Yeah. What a day. Gonna sleep well tonight. Oh yeah, totally. Back in the car, parched, totally. I have a little spray bottle I bring with me. So I gave it a really good spray, and then even just in the car here, I'm just spraying the trees beside me. You know, spraying everything back there as much as I can. Spraying myself, just to get everything cooled down in here and moist so it doesn't dry out too much. But yeah, what a day. Of course, as always, it's I gotta tack on a couple hours to my expected time, because you just get looking at trees, and beautiful. So, 3 weeks later since the collect, I've could have kept them in like semi-shade, misted them a bunch. I love it. I just love it. Look at that. 2 of them with just such nice movement, and it's pretty subtle. But these alpine firs, I mean, they are just, look at the age of that. Here, this is that little one out of the crevice that I showed you. I just really liked this movement. I mean, I need to tilt it up. You know, it needs to be tilted up at some point. But I just got it in the pot. Nice roots. It's doing good. I have it facing sort of the sun sideways, but I just love this movement. This is sort of gonna have to be a literati style one. And it's funny for me to get so enamored by a small tree. I think it's the inconsistency of the movements, which is just awesome. But yeah, I love this tree. I love this tree. Oh, I mean, this is just, Here's another tree I got from the collect. wasn't sure what to do with this big. I had topped it, you know, to try to push growth down, but really it's this monster base that just has this, and all these lower branches. And this is very typical of a subalpine fir. They make these sort of subalpine, you call them the skirts or something, you know, where it just keeps pushing, and then these will even layer. But you can see I've just got this gnarly, and it was jammed up on this zone here. There's like a rock or something, so it really is bizarre from this angle. But there's this sort of cliff and edge. So yeah, I've been sort of stumped on how to style this. I do think this is, maybe I get rid of this big one, or you know, make it right here. Make an apex there of some sort, maybe move this tree out of the way. Because I you know, what if I just took that off or cut it right there, and just had this base with all of this gnarly sort of branches coming out. I think that might be the sort of because that is so cool. I love this. You can't get that. That's just so unique. So yeah, another beautiful tree. People that have seen my channel, they've probably seen this tree before. It just has this beautiful bark. I re-put it into this container, which is actually, I really like this guy. It's too bad it's getting cracks, as most of my cement containers do. But I got to tilt it up, and so I didn't get to style it at all this year. So, wow, it actually looks like it's gonna push a second growth. Flash, amazing. So it's just taken off. But you know, I do need to kind of compact it and keep it more contained. But yeah, I couldn't this year because I just transplanted it, but it's really done well. And I had it kind of in the shade, so you can see it produced, I mean, semi-sun shade. Like there's its initial alpine growth the year I collected it, this year, and this is after I've transplanted. So it's just loved the transplant, but also I think it's the partly shade, right? So it really expanded and tried to get sun. So, but this is really where it's at. I love that facing, and this dead comes back off the top, and yeah. So I need to compact that. But final tree from the collect. It's the raft style. The raft. What I really love is pushing new growth from that tip. I mean, tons of new growth in here. But that will, I can change the angle even a little bit more, continue the raft. So I'm really just loving this tree. I'd posted a video earlier, so I think people are familiar with it, but it's doing really well. Yeah, it's just thriving in the new dirt. It's just loving it. New container. But yeah, look at that raft, and then the windswept raft. And, you know, it needs to be contained a bunch more. But it's pushed. I mean, look at all that. Look at all those buds. Just loving it, right? Everywhere. Boom, boom. You know, little buds all in there. So that's gonna help me really work the design. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Makes all the difference. Means the world to me.